I'm Bridget Pregersy, and this is your dumpster fire for the week of October 24th to October 31st.
And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns. World burns.
Hey! For those of you who don't know and missed the big announcement on a small, little-known podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience, I am with child.
Under his eye.
What's the most pretentious way you can phrase it?
We're off next week, so enjoy all of our past performances if you're just tuning into Dumpster Fire.
Okay. Old in chief.
Old in chief.
White House considering payments of $450,000 per person to immigrant families separated at the border.
I mean, this just seems like it made a lot of people very upset on all sides.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't even give like black folks reparations. And this seems a little reparation-y to me. And it was horrible that they were separated at the border. But am I mistaken in understanding that they were doing something illegal? Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from that. It was so horrible, they stopped that policy because there was such an outcry from like all sides of the aisle and the entire world.
Right. But yes, they were also trying to illegally enter the country.
If you get killed in service, you get $400,000 insurance payment. That's less than what they're offering these people as settlements.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say about
It
this.
sucks if you cross the border by yourself.
It's going to be funny when they're like just bus
You don't get
stops.
the money.
Yeah, vets are pretty outraged about this. They're like, what the fuck? I'm living under Pico Boulevard. And you're giving $450,000 to like illegal
Per
immigrants.
person.
They can't
Per
get the
person.
support they need. They can't get,
It's like $1 billion package.
Ugh.
They're going to be like bus stops that are like, were you separated at the border from your family? Like ambulance chasing lawyers like Better Call Saul.
And I feel like it almost incentivizes these like migrant caravans to the border.
They're going to be
more.
like, you know what? We want you to bring back this separation policy. It kind of reminds me of like when a criminal breaks into your house and then they break their leg and sue you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey,
Like
you owe me money. And they win often. Often in these stories, they'll win.
Yeah.
I guess they're probably just trying to get ahead of lawsuits.
Yeah, which are probably many.
Really, though?
There was a talk of a bunch of lawsuits in this note.
In this one note.
According to people familiar with the matter, as several agencies work to resolve lawsuits filed on behalf of parents and children who say the government subjected them to lasting psychological trauma. I
mean, the United States government has subjected a lot of people to lasting psychological trauma. Get wrecked, China!
China has a new family education law ordering parents to ease up on academic pressure.
Now your Chinese baby can be a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant. I just think they're making them dumber so they can more easily infiltrate American culture. They're like, you need to dumb your Chinese children down. They're not getting into colleges anymore because the colleges are racist and not letting Asians in. So you need your kid to be a little bit more stupid so that they can get into like a state school and infiltrate America.
Infiltrate
and
the
then you will attack.
I know, it's all these laws of, banning effeminate men, banning video game hours played by children.
They're limiting like the kinds of tools you can beat your child with now. The audacity.
There's some sort of grand master plan falling into place here.
This is just another piece of the puzzle. But it does seem like there were a lot of Chinese parents who are not happy about this. Part of the new law is that these parents have to have this mandatory family plan but it still requires the parents to come home from work and like do this stuff. But it seems like another way to just be a social credit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
there's some pushback in China about it.
Yeah.
I mean, as pushbacky as you can get in China.
So they're trying to ease academic pressure on kids by doing more of this family indoctrination stuff?
Yeah. Like they want them to teach morals and like family values and creepy stuff.
How do
like
you
that.
enforce this?
That's what I mean. I don't know how you enforce it.
I'm sure
They're like,
China
well,
will find a way.
I'm sure they will. It's social credit.
Journalism. Lincoln Project Democrat operative busted for white nationalist hoax.
I love that they're like, we can't wear these as regular Halloween costumes, so let's go stand in front of this Republican bus. This is so cynical, though, truly. I mean, to weaponize racism like this is the most deeply cynical and disgusting thing. So a bunch of Democratic operatives pretended to be Republicans, and then they stood in front of, there's this big election going on in Virginia for the new governor. And they stood in front of the Republican candidate Youngkin's bus, acting like they were supporters of his. And then all of the like aides for the Democratic nominee were like, this is the kind of supporters that they have for the Republican Party. And this is exactly who supports. And even the woman who died in Charlottesville, because this is a nod to Charlottesville, they all dressed up with tiki torches. Even like the lawyer for the girl who died was like, this is fucking disgusting. Maybe he didn't say but he was like, this is disgusting that you would use this cynically, weaponize this tragedy as a way to try and take away support from Youngkin.
Yeah, it's really gross.
It's so, and like Glenn Greenwald said, there will be no repercussions for it for any of these people. And these were aides and MSNBC. And so then the Lincoln had to issue a statement saying that they were behind this whole thing.
Well, because the people were getting doxxed,
Yeah,
right?
they were getting doxxed.
And so then the Lincoln Project finally admit that they were the ones behind it.
And I love how they always use the word operatives. They're like, these are Democratic operatives. Like they're in a Tom Clancy novel. They're like these freaking nerd losers who are just like rah Democratic Party. And they're all out there acting like they're these spies with like multiple passports and actual firearm skills. Losers.
Okay, then we have Tucker Carlson has a documentary coming out about January 6th.
The helicopters have left Afghanistan, and now they've landed here at home.
And the left is hunting the right.
Yeah, this was this seemed like an incendiary video even for Tucker, and I will give him credit for coming up with a counter narrative instead of actually just going head to head with the left. He's just creating a whole new counter narrative, which is that January 6th was a false flag, which seems like it veers really into like Infowars territory, into Sammy Flapsenfold's conspiracy theory territory. And it was weird too, because to be fair, the left started a lot of this rhetoric. They were saying that January 6th is the equivalent of 9/11 and that they're the American version of Al-Qaeda. Which is so extreme. But in his video, he had like Osama bin Laden. And I was confused because right when they said like there have been false flags in America before, they showed Osama bin Laden. And I was like, are they saying 9/11 was an inside job?
False flags have happened in this country.
But maybe they were just saying they used 9/11 to foster lies to get us into the war in Iraq.
Maybe.
I don't know. Then they were showing these patriots and saying they were being waterboarded in Guantanamo and like left there to die.
Sticking them in Guantanamo Bay for American citizens.
Which seems a little bit extreme. And it does seem like it's activating this population of people that feels like the left is coming for them in a way that treats them like domestic terrorists. Although they're not entirely wrong because of the language that is being used. For instance, calling parents who go to school council meetings domestic terrorists, and that's coming right from the DOJ. So it's inflammatory.
Yeah.
And it has pictures of people who look like, you know, militias in the woods, which I'm kind of like, we don't need to be fueling this, Tucker. But then it was like I was talking to my husband about it, and we were going back and forth about just the whole narrative and all of it. And I was like, but it is going to be funny when we find out January 6th was a false flag. Because you just don't know. The problem with all of these things is that everything is true. Like, it's the same thing during the riots. It's true that there were instigators. It's true that there were probably right-wing agitators. It's true that there are left-wing Antifa agitators. And it's true that the majority of people were just protesters and not rioters. Now, same thing for January 6th. It's true there were just some people there stoked to be supporting Trump. And there were some people there who were agitators. There were some people there who were feds, probably. Well, clearly, that's come out. And there were some people there who might have been left-wing agitators. And all of those things can be true, which is why it's hard to really parse what any of this is. But I tend to just always think like the simplest answer is the truest. Is that Occam's razor? I think it was probably just a lot of people who were there. They do think the election was stolen, and they were there to try and stop it. And some people went farther than others. And then you're in a mob, and shit gets crazy.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, there is a lot of weirdness around that shit.
This Tucker video is nuts.
It's
though.
so
It's
nuts.
insane. I'm like, do we
But
really
then I
need
look at what
this?
the left does, and I'm like, you guys were all week talking about how Tucker was being insane with his false flag accusations, and then you literally did a false flag at the end of the week.
Patriarchy's so crafty. Jury awards $10 million to former exec who said he was fired because he is a white male.
I love that a white dude was fired for being a white dude, and he got paid $10 million. It's like the most white dude thing ever.
I know.
Somehow he still ended up on top, folks. But rightfully. Shouldn't be fired on the basis of your sex or the color of your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And he was absolutely fired because he was a white male.
Right. And he was replaced by 2 women, but they fired him like days before his 5 years would kick in so that his severance would go higher. It's just like
I get knocked down.
Get knocked down, but I get up again.
That's the song I hear when I hear this like white guy with his 10 million. I get knocked down, but I get out again. And I ain't never gonna take me down. I get knocked down.
All right. Then we've got the first male wins homecoming queen at a high school in Missouri.
It's really, we couldn't skip this. It's so patriarchy, so crafty. She was crowned yes queen, actually. And everybody was super excited.
Well, I don't know if she actually identifies as trans or is just like a gay kid in a dress. I didn't see.
I thought it said first trans.
No, it said first male.
He was given the option to choose either king or queen, and he chose queen.
Yes, queen. So maybe just gay.
Yeah, I think so. He was very excited, and everyone was very excited for him.
He seems popular.
Uh-huh.
I was never that popular. That's the only reason I'm jealous.
I got Marcher of the Year.
You
Of
freaking
course you
2 years
did.
in a row.
nerd. Marcher of the Year.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I mean, it's just funny.
Yeah,
it
it
is like, it's still patriarchy so crafty.
Uh-huh.
It's still a man taking a woman's position.
Taking a woman's crown.
Watch out, Queen Elizabeth.
It is. He took a woman's crown. We're being replaced. Women! I had an inappropriate joke. I'll still say it. Date rape is going to be pretty awkward tonight. Homecoming dance.
All right. Get wrecked, big tech.
Get wrecked, big tech!
Facebook changes company name to Meta.
Meta wasn't their first choice, but the Matrix was taken.
Ooh.
That feels like a joke that was already made. 2 minutes after it was announced, I'm sure that was a joke somewhere.
So weird.
But you know what? I guarantee no one made that date rape joke. I don't have much to say about this.
Yeah, so just the Facebook, the parent company became Meta, and then Facebook's still Facebook. I just
That's
think it's
so
just,
meta.
right. It's just a stupid name, but apparently it has something to do with the metaverse.
Then he
which-
had like the Sweet Baby Ray barbecue sauce on his shelf because it's like, oh, look at me, humans. I can be like you. Because one time he said he loved it, and now it's just apparently on his shelf to be like, I'm a relatable robot.
on his
Just
bookshelf.
like you.
I'm a relatable robot. Tech people. But I think it is kind of true that this metaverse does have a lot of the, if you take away the awkwardness and the stupidness of the name that was getting teased a lot, it does have a Ready Player One vibe where, big tech oligarchs would like nothing more than to just create another world we can escape into that's awesome instead of dealing with any of the problems in this one.
Right.
Well, this one goes to they're like, we'll just create an alternate reality
Yep.
that everybody can go to. What's the big deal here? And then no one will notice that we added trillions of dollars to our wealth while many of you had your businesses shut down and couldn't leave your homes and your children suffered mental illnesses from our products. Doo-doo-doo. I guess I did have something to say. About
Yes,
it.
you should quite a bit. What is happening? U.S. issues its first passport with an X gender marker to intersex Colorado resident.
Intersex!
Intersex.
Woo!
Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Nope.
So, yeah, when I really looked into this at first, it just sounded like it was like, hey, we're going to let anybody. I don't know what the parameters are.
Right.
If this person's actually intersex, so that's medically what they are considered. So
Right.
that seems pretty reasonable. I guess there are only a handful of other countries that allow for a not male or female.
Yeah.
Like Australia,
New Zealand, Canada, and Nepal.
Which seems like the outlier there. Not surprised by any of the other ones.
That seems like just a f you to China.
Yeah, and so I get it. It just seems like it would be confusing.
But then there's
What if you're a terrorist and you're like, I'm going to identify as a female because duh. They'll be like, are you Osama bin Laden? It's like, no, I'm Tracy Jurgenstein.
No, Osama bin Laden is a male, and my passport clearly says
Clearly
female.
says I'm a female Tracy Jurgenstein. For some reason, I'm always like, how are they going to find the bodies when there's a plane crash?
Are they going to identify the body?
Yeah, I just don't understand. They're not going to know what they're looking for. Like, they're going to be
Yeah, so
like,
they
what do you
count
mean
them.
there are 70 X genders? Are we looking for 70 men or women? Does it matter? Just look for 70 bodies. I don't know. It does seem like a domestic terror problem. Like, it does seem like when it comes to crime and terrorism, it could get a little dodgy.
Yeah, it could certainly be exploited.
We don't want Tracy Jurgenstein coming in here and blowing up the freaking stadiums.
I hope we don't have a viewer named Tracy Jurgenstein.
He's quite a mastermind. Then we've got a Virginia councilman posts, then deletes picture of himself in blackface as sexual chocolate.
Sam thought it was a hilarious costume. Sam, you could totally go as sexual chocolate for Halloween with your hair.
This is a very much
That's me.
what Sam's hair looks like.
I told you. Sam, we have a costume idea for you.
Yes.
But honestly, what is up with Virginia and blackface? And politicians in blackface?
I know.
Yeah.
Is it like just a weird oppositional defiance that they can't help themselves? Like I don't understand how in 2021 politicians are still doing this and then posting pictures of it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is it just like a you? I don't get it.
No, I think it's honestly freaking ignorance at this point, because how stupid do you have to be to do this in 2021
This
as
is
a
like
politician?
This politician just woke up from a coma from the last movie he saw was Coming to America. And then woke up and was like, I'm going to go with sexual
chocolate.
If
If it was a you, then he wouldn't have deleted it.
I don't know. Are they
Unless he
just that
wanted to
stupid
get
and
caught.
ignorant? I mean, I guess I would assume that our politicians are that stupid and ignorant. But it just seems so stupid. Why would you do that?
Uh-huh.
It's not even a funny bit.
No.
Like, subscribe, comment, touch my bells and buttons. Tell Maggie in the comments what we should do for our 50,000 video. Hey, we passed 50,000. We broke through the glass ceiling of Dumpster Fire.
Yes.
Now keep going. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, and tell your crazy uncle that they need to subscribe to Dumpster Fire. Get down here right now and sign up.
BDE Award. Enes Kanter called out Nike and LeBron James on their hypocrisy around China's human rights abuses.
He gives 0 Fs. 0 Fs given. We were going to cover this last week, and then he went hard this week. He called out LeBron James and Nike, the owner of Nike, and said that they were responsible for using slave labor, ignoring the concentration camps of the Uyghurs, the oppression of Tibet, not allowing them to be free. And then they stopped streaming the Celtics games. They have the Chinese video streaming platform, Tencent. And they cut the live broadcast of the Celtics games.
Wow.
Yeah. Just for him saying that.
That's so f***ed.
anyone who speaks out,
I
they'll
know.
cut the stream
And they
into that
live
team.
in fear of like losing the China market. So
Everybody lives in fear of it. We're all going to be basically just like making Chinese content soon enough. It's like every country in the world is going to be just catering to China soon. Because of course, they have the biggest market. All the tech companies. They're going to be like, welcome to another episode of Latzi Sanghua.
垃圾香火
Everything's been scrubbed previous, and it'll be like, China is the greatest country in the entire world. We love China and believe that all men should be banished if they're bitches. Get wrecked, USA.
sprained my eyes. PETA suggests that Major League Baseball replace bullpen with arm barn.
PETA's like that hot chick that talks about how her boyfriend isn't having sex with her enough in front of a group of guys because she just wants to get attention and get men like thinking about having sex with her. That's what PETA's like.
Then we've got dumpster diving.
What's next? In the dumpster.
Hiker lost on Colorado mountain ignored calls from rescuers because he didn't recognize the number. It looks like you were tweaking your own nipples. You can't. All right, let's try that again.
No, I'm only doing that take, so you have to use it. I just don't think he was lost. I think he was out there, and then he got maybe sidetracked or lost or went off the trail, but then he was like probably on mushrooms and just having, a nice little trip by himself and found his way back. And who's going to answer an unavailable or unmarked call, blocked call, or number you don't know when you're on mushrooms in the woods?
Bridget's found the solution.
This is my whole theory.
All right, then we've got.
I guarantee this fucker was a millennial.
Probably didn't want to be around his wife anymore.
I
I don't care, Susan.
He's like, I don't care.
You say you're not going to miss me? Fine. See if I come home tonight.
Okay, Brian Johnson, nicknamed Liver King, swears by a caveman diet. He eats raw liver, testicles, and bone marrow every day and claims it has transformed his life.
Raw meat?
Ugh.
Testicles.
This
Raw.
guy does actually need ivermectin, like to use as a dewormer. What does he mean an ancestral diet? Like the pre-fire diet? So like 2.3 million years ago?
Uh-huh.
That's pretty ancestral.
I know, it's so bad for you. And then in the article, they're like, please don't eat raw meat. They're saying how unhealthy it is.
Yeah, you can get all kinds of shit, like worms.
Worms. Yeah, parasites.
This is like the Joe Rogan diet crossed with the Jordan Peterson diet.
Yeah.
Well, those two pictures they had of him, like side by side, one was, with raw meat in his hand, and then the other one, it looked like he was like ate the raw meat and had the meat sweats.
I've had the meat sweats all week.
Hey-o.
I wasn't home, Sam. You can't make that joke. I've been out of town. It's because I was eating a lot of filet.
The baby wanted filet.
The baby wanted bone marrow. Actually, I was eating a lot of bone marrow, but it was cooked, not raw.
Yeah.
My child has very fancy tastes. She only eats filet and bone marrow, the finest bone marrow you can find.
A study finds all the fast food you love contains hormone-disrupting chemicals.
Joe Rogan was right. Yet again. Because he was talking about this when we were at the end of our last episode.
Yeah.
Phthalate.
He was saying it's a pH, but it's pronounced...
Phthalates.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. Trying to keep up with Joe on his science. He does know a lot about science. And this is science-based evidence. And he was talking about this and how they're in everything and they're making Winkies shrink.
Right. And the taints. Once he started talking about taints, I was like, okay. He's saying the word taint a lot.
Yeah. I also heard this about tinfoil. You're not supposed to like cook your food in tinfoil. But I knew that ages ago from smoking heroin. You always had to cure your tinfoil of all of the chemicals because you can't cook it on the shiny side.
You just cook on the dull side.
Sam knew this too.
I didn't know
Not
this
from heroin.
Not
either
from heroin.
because
from
I'm,
cooking.
I'm not a cook or a former drug addict, so I had no idea.
This needs to be Sam and I's cooking show. Like, here's what I've learned from cooking drugs, and here's what Sam's learned from cooking actual food.
And you're both just teaching me how to cook.
And we're teaching Maggie how to cook.
Activists hold small dong march to end shaming of tiny penises. It's just like, whatever I say, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth.
I feel like this is that moment where I'm like, no, small winkies are fine. It's like, say it, big dicks are better. Say it, Bridget. Big dicks are better. They had signs and stuff that were like, all dongs matter. All dongs matter is like, all lives matter.
This sent us down a rabbit hole in the writer room, and we wound up on a small penis dating website called Dinky One.
I know. I think the whole thing was sponsored by Dinky One, wasn't it?
Which
I
one
don't
are you
think
This
so.
should have been
dating?
Capitalism Always Wins.
Oh, the dinky one.
Yeah, so like you can go on there and then not, people know what they're getting into. A lot of women like small dinkies. I'm not one of them.
Breaking Bridget. Protesters disrupt a wedding Senator Kristen Sinema was a guest at.
My daughter's wedding. Just for an hour. Just let her get married, please. This person is not my daughter.
The video of this is infuriating, and this drives me crazy because this is the same tactics like the Westboro Baptist Church uses, going to funerals and weddings and parties and disrupting them. You're not convincing anyone with this shit. It's not a way to like get people on board with you. You just look like dicks.
It's my daughter's wedding. So throw her out. Please just go down to the corner for 1 hour.
The poor mom was out there begging for them to like leave for just an hour, even just be quiet. She's like, it's my daughter's wedding. And they're like, well, why is she there? Send Kristen out then. And people were saying if Kristen really cared, she would have left that wedding. And then they were giving the woman for being friends with all those millionaires. You aren't convincing anybody. This is terrorism. I mean, maybe not terrorism. That might be hyperbolic. But it was horrible. I don't understand why you think that this is okay and this is a tactic that's going to earn the hearts and minds of people that you're trying to bring onto your side. And to make it about millionaires and this poor bride and her mom, and then tell them to like throw Kristen Sinema out, like sacrifice her to the wolves, like she's a fucking hostage that they're negotiating for. They're just so gross.
There's just no common humanity.
No, there's no common humanity. This is insane. Stop behaving like people you claim to hate. Stop doing this to people who are just trying to live their private lives, private citizens having a wedding. So gross. And the problem I have too is like the media will just carry water for this shit. If the roles were reversed and this was like a bunch of conservatives who were like Westboro Baptist Church, they got tons of media coverage when they do shit like this. Kristen's at a wedding and there are a bunch of people outside protesting and they're like, go have fun with your millionaires. And this is our right to protest. Yeah, it's your right to protest, but this is like also just disrupting.
It's harassment.
It is harassment. It's like bullying masked as social justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not fair to these like private citizens. They followed her into the bathroom and everybody was like, well, that's what she gets. How far down the rabbit hole have you gone that you've lost your humanity so much that you're justifying following a woman into the bathroom to harass her?
Ugh.
I just can't stand it. I hate everything. I hate all this. All these tactics like just make people repulse people.
Yeah.
It's not good for your cause. Stop doing it. You're gross. You're gross. And now the internet is glorious.
I have a motto. I eat and drink no for breakfast.
So my SO is a writer, and so he's like always in his feels. But today was like beyond extra. He literally woke up and chose violence.
Phetasy news. We're going to blast through it. I was on Joe Rogan this past week, the Joe Rogan Experience. Some of you may have heard of him. Pitiful demoralization.
What the f*** do your friends said you're taking a disco nap? Like,
Yeah.
they're like, she's fine. Let's keep partying.
Then I found a Yankees hat and I put it on, and that's when I knew it's time to get sober. I was also appeared on Glenn Beck Radio. It makes my blood boil that you have the audacity to sit in your house for a year and bake your sourdough bread and post your pictures on Instagram and clap for everybody and have the posters in your front yard with all the essential workers. And I appeared on You Are Here twice, the live stream. It was a show. Even standing up to that mob and saying, we're not getting rid of it. We didn't get rid of cuties when all the conservatives flipped out and we're like, oh my God. I strongly recommend you check those out. My Spectator article dropped. America needs a 12-step program. Check out Spectator. I have a monthly column there. We had Walk-ins Welcome with our guest Batya Ungar Sargon talking about her new book, Bad News. Check it out. Check out Walk-ins Welcome. Subscribe to it. It's a different pace and feel than our Dumpster Fire, but it's a nice balance. Check it out wherever podcasts are available. Speaking of which, Dumpster Fire is now a podcast, and you can get that anywhere other than Apple, and I can't blame Apple. Now I'm blaming Maggie.
It's my fault. I'm going to figure it out this week.
So as soon as we get that figured out, we'll let you know. But it's everywhere other than Apple. Join the community at Phetasy.com. You can see the unedited version of Dumpster Fire every Sunday. You also get a huge community. You get workouts. You get cooking videos, live streams, and all kinds of extra content that you don't get anywhere else. So join us there. If you love this show, it is the best and easiest way to support it. Get merch at BridgetPhetasy.com. We've been selling lots of merch, especially those This Is My Vaccine Passport t-shirts. And You're Not Woke, You're Annoying is a great gift for your crazy uncle who loves Facebook. So check that out. Get some presents. Thank you, Dave Yates, Matt Monroe, Andy Chandler, and Better Phetasy for your writing, editing, and research. Thank you to Zen Pro Audio for our juicy mic and all of their help. Get all of your audio needs from Zen Pro Audio. Support small businesses. We love them, and you should too. And if you don't, what are you even doing watching this mom and pop operation? I don't know. Thank you, supporters and subscribers. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in. Welcome to the new people who might be joining this shim sham flim flam operation. It's a wild journey that we're all part of. And just remember, we are only here to make burgers out of your sacred cows. We have no sacred cows. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you, Sam. Find Sam anywhere online. Maggie
Thanks,
is only in the community. Sam you can find on Instagram. Follow me all over the web. And that's it. Not in real life. And that's it.
Nice clarification.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
I think we got it. I'll see you in 2 weeks. This has been your Dumpster Fire for the week of October 24th to October 31st. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich! The Monster Mash!
He did the Monster Mash.